So for your lessons this week, we'd like you to create a tonal drawing. Now, if you're not sure what we mean by a tonal drawing, here are some examples. We would like you to do this in pencil. So if you have a look, it's basically just a drawing where you have coloured in the lights and darks with your pencil. Now, what's really important with this drawing is actually that you choose a photograph that is challenging. I think I spoke about this a few weeks ago when we took the photographs, and we're going to be using the photos that you took a few weeks back. Now, on these next few slides, there's some examples to try and help you with this. So you can see here, there are some pictures of crumpled cans that somebody has drawn, and these would actually show off your skills and get a much higher grade than if you were just to draw a straightforward can like this one here. So think about what is going to show your skills off to get that higher grade. On this next one here as well, if you are doing fruit, for example, don't just draw a single apple, because that's not going to get you a high grade because you're not showing your skills off. What we'd like you to do is you could either draw a piece of fruit that's cut in half, it's got lots of detail like this kind of thing, or sometimes if you have lots of fruit kind of bunched together, that makes for a really interesting picture. This person has also put things like onions and vegetables and that kind of thing with the fruit, and you can see it makes a really interesting drawing, very detailed. What I have just suggested on this slide is if, for example, your photos are unsuitable, you might need to take another photo. Worst case scenario, I guess you can maybe find one to draw from. Generally, for the higher grades, we want it to be from a primary source, so either in front of you or a photograph that you have taken yourself. When you have chosen your photograph, you can actually start thinking about drawing this out, okay? Now, what I have discussed on the next few slides is that actually, when you draw it out, you need to make sure that it is in proportion, okay? And when we think about in proportion, that means getting everything in the right place and making sure that all the sizes are correct, okay? So do that before you add any tone on. And for today's lesson, we actually don't want you to add tone on. We just want you to focus on getting everything in the right place. So on the next few slides, there are some ideas of how you can do this. So the first option is that you can break down your object into very simple shapes. So Mrs. Garud started off by drawing very lightly circles. I don't know if you can see just here. So she drew the circles of the apples, and then after that, to try and get the text into proportion, she's actually drawn guidelines, which are lines one above and one kind of below the lettering, and she's kind of followed the shape of the crumples as well on the packaging to try and kind of distort the lettering, and that's a really good way of getting your lettering into the right proportions. If you are a perfectionist, you might quite like the next one. So you could potentially grid up your photo. This maybe takes a little bit more time, and you can simply draw a grid on your photograph, and then you could copy it square by square. And the final one, if you're finding it really challenging and really hard, you just getting very frustrated, you can't get things in the right place, you could try printing your image, put it onto a window and trace the very basic outlines through. And that's a really easy way just to get the basic shapes in the right place, okay? Once you have done that, we want you to think about adding some some detail to your drawing. So we will think about the tone next lesson, like I said, and your drawing will look something like this one here when you've added the detail. So the detail are just things like the crisscrosses on top of the jam jar, more of the lettering, just some kind of basics so you know where to put the tone on. And then final slides that I've given you there's a few videos that you might want to watch on YouTube, just see how they put together their drawing. So we hope you get on well with this task. So just remember, for today's lesson, just focus on getting the proportion and the detail in the right place, and the next lesson we will be thinking about adding tone onto our drawing. So I hope that makes sense. Any questions, then please do get in touch. Have a good week. Thank you. Bye.